Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to another Bhagavatam Bites. And for us today, it is Christmas Day. And we're doing a reading, although it doesn't look very Christmassy. But we, this morning we went, because it was very little traffic, at least initially in New York. So we were able to drive up to the Rockefeller Center and literally park right beside where the famous Rockefeller tree is. Which, by the way, when we went to Montreal, we drove to Montreal to give some talks, and we saw the tree coming from out of the, I guess, whatever the Catskill Mountains or the upper New York, upstate New York mountains. So anyway, we were there, and then we wound up in St. Patrick's Church, and we wound up there for the Mass. It was amazing, and we stayed for Mass, and heard a few sermons and some hymns. It was really, it was quite special. So, but anyway, then we came home, vegged out. So, we're here to read now, doing some reading. Where are we?
It's Canto 4, Chapter 28, Text 20.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 20. King Puranjan continued thinking how, when he was in a state of bewilderment, his wife would give him good counsel, and how she would become aggrieved when he was away from home. Although she was the mother of so many sons and heroes, the king still feared that she would not be able to maintain the responsibility of household affairs. Purport. At the time of death, King Puranjan was thinking of his wife, and this is called polluted consciousness. As Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 7, Mamaivam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manastana indriyani prakriti stani karshati. And my translation is, the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they're struggling very hard with the six senses, which includes the mind. There you go. Short purport. Or short paragraph anyway. There's more.
As I said, the purport's pretty long.
Purport is long. But it's cut off in a very awkward place.
Have you anything to add?
Not yet.
Okay. So I always appreciate that. Verse 15:7, Namaivam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. And then it's mana shashtindriyani prakritistani karshati. That it's like two really important points. One is that the living entities are Krishna's eternal fragmental parts and parcels. That in and of itself is like noteworthy and exceptional and so very important. But then the mana shashtendriyani, that due to conditioned life, we, the conditioned living entities, which are parts and parcels of Krishna, are struggling very hard with the six senses, and that includes the mind. So this is the perpetual challenge. Hypothetically, it's not perpetual, but it seems to be a perpetual, ongoing challenge to deal with the mind, to get control of the mind, and not let the mind carry us. As we're hearing also from these verses and purports, how the subtle body, and what is this point here is that King Puranjan was thinking of his wife, Bharat Maharaj was thinking of a deer, other living entities may be thinking of different things at the time of death, and that aspect of consciousness carries the soul via the subtle body to the next life. So, but we are all eternal parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, which is amazing. Let's see, next paragraph, which is exceptionally long, so I'll stop. It stops. So there's the third paragraph, which is very similar to the first. Okay, so the living entity is, after all, part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit, Krishna. In other words, Krishna's constitutional position and the living entity's constitutional position are the same qualitatively. The only difference is that the living entity is eternally an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. Mamaivam so, jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. In this material world of conditional life, the fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord, the individual soul, is struggling due to his contaminated mind and consciousness. This is why we're struggling, because of the contaminated mind. As part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, the living entity is supposed to think of Krishna. But here we see that King Puranjan, the living entity, is thinking of a woman. Such mental absorption with some sense objects brings about the living entity's struggle for existence in this material world. Since King Puranjan is thinking of his wife, his struggle for existence in the material world will not be ended by death. Okay. Since he is thinking of his wife, his struggle for existence in the material world will not be ended by death. As revealed in the following verse, King Puranjan had to accept the body of a woman in his next life. Spoiler alert. Being overly absorbed in thoughts of his wife. Thus, mental absorption in social, political, pseudo-religious, national, and communal consciousness is cause for bondage. During one's lifetime, one has to change his activities in order to attain release from bondage. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yagyatar karmano natya loko yam karma bandhanaha. If we do not change our consciousness in this life, whatever we do in the name of social, political, religious, or communal and national welfare will be the cause of our bondage. Okay, that's very interesting. This means we have to continue in material conditional life. As explained in the Bhagavad Gita, same verse. Manashashtendriyani prakritistani karshati. When the mind and senses are engaged in material activities, one has to continue his material existence and struggle to attain happiness. I think I'll stop there, and you can read the rest. Are you okay with that?
I guess
So,
so.
really powerful and important points. Focusing and honing in again on our consciousness, what our consciousness is focused on, and how basically we often just allow our consciousness to go wherever it wants, do whatever it wants, hone in on this, space out on that, and ultimately we think that that's kind of, it's okay. Although, of course, one might say sometimes you might need to space out a little bit, but Srila Prabhupada was often speaking about how, the pure devotee doesn't like to waste any time, and how old men at the end of their life sit in the park playing chess, wasting their life, or they're hitting golf ball from hole to hole, wasting their life, wasting their time. They're at the fag end of life, and here they are trying to play some games. So, like that. And then Prabhupada mentions mental absorption in social, political, pseudo-religious, national, and communal consciousness is a cause for bondage. So people get caught up in all these things. We see in politics, especially in America, I guess it's the same in many places, that the politicians, most of them are already older, they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s, even, good Lord. And, you think, well, shouldn't they be doing something else and thinking about something else? But no, that's they're in the height of their political career, one might say. Whether that's good for everybody else, we don't
Exactly.
know, but it seems that it likely is certainly not good for them
No.
from a spiritual perspective. Anyway, I want to continue.
In each and every life, one is engaged in the struggle to become happy. Actually, no one in this material world is happy, but the struggle gives a false sense of happiness. A person must work very hard, and when he attains the result of his hard work, he thinks himself happy. In the material world, people do not know what real happiness is. Sukham atyantikam yatad buddhi grayam atindriyam. Bhagavad Gita 6.21. Real happiness must be appreciated by one's transcendental senses. Unless one is purified, the transcendental senses are not manifest. Therefore, to purify the senses, one must take to Krishna consciousness and engage the senses in the service of the Lord. Then there will be real happiness and liberation. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 8, Shariram yad avapnoti yakchapi utkramati svara. Grihit vaitani samyati vayo gandhav ivashayat. The living entity in the material world carries its different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries aromas. That was a translation of what I just read. And the rest of the purport. If the wind passes over a garden of roses, it will carry the aroma of roses. And if it passes over a filthy place, it will carry the stench of obnoxious things. Similarly, King Paranjam, the living entity, now passes the air of his life over his wife, a woman. Therefore, he has to accept the body of a woman in his next life. There you go. So we should all be thinking good thoughts, basically.
No, that's not the point. We're all thinking good thoughts. What does that mean?
I'm not finished.
Okay.
Lord, please help me, God, to think good thoughts right in this moment. God. Anyway, now I forgot what I was going to say, so don't.
Well, what you said, I can repeat it if you like. You said, so therefore, we should all be thinking good thoughts. And that was almost like with a punctuation of a period or an exclamation mark at the end.
Yeah, it's just a joke.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So what's the point?
Oh my goodness me. So we just got to become Krishna conscious and engage the senses in the service of the Lord.
Wow. Okay.
Have you got any thoughts?
I'm sure, but I mean, I'm interested to know where you're going with the whole, we all just have to think good thoughts. If it was just a joke, then okay, yeah, but it seemed like, and anyway, my response was like, oh yeah, okay, we can have some banter on that, and you can argue your point, and you can say, no, I meant good thoughts like this, and I would say, yes, but the point here that's being made, so. Any good thoughts?
No.
You got any good thoughts?
No good thoughts.
It reminds me of one devotee who was living in the ashram, and we did during the month, the marathon month, we were doing videos of devotees on the street, and we were asking them. Well, first he said to us before we started filming, oh yeah, we were like, Prabhu, you got any realizations? You've been doing book distribution now for like 20 days or something. He's like, yeah, loads. We're like, cool. Let's video it and you share some realizations. And then we started filming and we're like, so, Prabhu, have you got any realizations about book? He said, yeah, loads. And he went, I can't do this right now. I need some time to think about it. And so then it was like, because sometimes when, the pressure of the camera, the pressure is on, it's like we don't always get it. But anyway, it was kind of comical a little bit for him. This verse, the living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. So, this Yeah, so this concept of the subtle body carrying us from one conscious place to another, like the wind, which is a very interesting analogy. Like, we wouldn't think about that, but how does the wind, what is an aroma, and how does it get carried from one place to another? You know, even if sometimes they offer this nice perfume, or, you know, like incense. Right now there's some pretty heavy incense being burned in the room, which I'm not sure she's a big fan of. It's those little cow dung dupe incense sticks that, like, basically make it smell like Vrindavan, I think. It reminds me of Vrindavan, like when you used to drive from Vrindavan to Govardhan, especially in the evening, and all the ladies start burning those cow dung patties that have been stuck to the wall. And it's like all you see drifting in the air is that smoke, and you smell that aroma. But
yeah, but if you ever meet him and you ever light incense, he doesn't like it's all over.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Because lots of incense is made with carcinogenic chemicals. This is made from cow dung, which isn't carcinogenic.
So you will like it, whether you like it or not.
Okay, so on that happy note, we're going to finish our Christmas reading, and we wish you all
good thoughts.
Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Haribol.